starting with Christmas celebrations. Lamenting the winds of war blowing around the world, Pope Francis in his traditional Christmas message on Monday called for a two-state solution to find peace in the Middle East and prayed that confrontation can be overcome on the Korean Peninsula. The Pope said his traditional Christmas message and blessing from the central balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square. As Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus, the Pope depicted suffering reflected in the faces of little children, citing war and other tensions in the Middle East and Africa. Moving on to Jerusalem's recognition as Israel's capital, Guatemala's president announced on Christmas Eve that the Central American country will move its embassy in Israel to Jerusalem, becoming the first nation to follow the lead of U.S. President Donald Trump in ordering the change. Guatemalan President Jimmy Morales said that after talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he decided to instruct Guatemala's foreign ministry to move the embassy. It's worth mentioning that Guatemala was one of 9 nations that voted with the United States and Israel on Thursday, when the UN General Assembly overwhelmingly adopted a non-binding resolution denouncing Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. On the other side of the world, North Korea said it is a pipe dream for the United States to think it will give up its nuclear weapons and called the latest UN sanctions to target the country an act of war that violates its sovereignty. The UN Security Council unanimously approved tough new sanctions against North Korea on Friday in response to its latest launch of a ballistic missile. North Korea's foreign ministry said on Sunday, "We define this sanctions resolution rigged up by the US and its followers as a grave infringement upon the sovereignty of our republic." On another side, Ukrainian authorities and separatist rebels have agreed on a major prisoner exchange. Separatist leaders and the Ukrainian government representatives said in televised comments on Monday that they would exchange prisoners on Wednesday. They spoke after a meeting in Moscow mediated by the head of the Russian Orthodox Church. Moreover, Kiev representatives said Ukraine is ready to release 306 people and is hoping for the separatists to release 74 people. Moreover, Kiev representatives said Ukraine is ready to release 306 people and is hoping for the separatists to release 74 people. This comes as a truce signed in 2015 stipulated an exchange of all prisoners. On to natural crises. Hundreds of thousands of people in Vietnam's Mekong Delta have been evacuated as the region braced for the arrival of Typhoon Tembin after the storm left more than 160 people dead in the Philippines. Weather forecasters were expecting the Delta's southern tip to be in Tembin's path and said heavy rain and strong winds starting Monday night could cause serious damage in the vulnerable region where facilities are not built to cope with such severe weather. From another perspective, a national television station reported that several 100,000 people were being evacuated from their houses. And finally, suicide attacker on foot blew himself up near a compound belonging to the Afghan intelligence agency in Kabul on Monday, killing 6 civilians. Officials said the attacker struck at a time when workers were arriving at their offices. Interior Ministry spokesman said 6 civilians in a car were killed when the attacker detonated himself. On the other hand, the Islamic State group claimed Kabul's attack. From another aspect, it comes a week after militants stormed a National Directorate of Security Training Center in the Afghan capital.